Good afternoon. I'm Tom Holman. I'm the Acting Director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. Targeting, arresting, and removing members of violent street gangs such as MS-13 sends a clear message to criminal enterprises around the world. You are not welcome in the United States, and you will find no harbor here. President Trump made it a priority to get these criminals off our streets and, when possible, out of our country. And that's exactly what the men and women of ICE are going to do every single day to help keep America safe. ICE's Homeland Security Investigation, known as HSI, National Gang Unit, leads our efforts along with our deportation officers to identify and arrest gang members while working to dismantle the organizational structure that supports them. Gang members are involved in a broad range of criminal activity, including murder, extortion, narcotics trafficking, weapons trafficking, human smuggling, and other crimes with a nexus to border security. Since the beginning of January of this year, ICE's Homeland Security Investigation has already arrested 3,311 gang members across the country in a number of targeted operations. I'll speak just about two. Project New Dawn, a recent gang surge led by ICE HSI, netted 1,378 gang arrests. Operation Matador, up in New York State, since May 9th, has netted over 100 gang members and affiliates, vast majority of MS-13 members. Make no mistake, organized violent transnational gangs threaten the safety of our communities, not just in major metropolitan areas, but in our suburbs like Suffolk County, New York, where I'll be joining the President tomorrow to discuss this very issue. Let me share just a couple examples that demonstrate the violence of these criminals. Recently, two MS-13 members who were juveniles, arrested as part of Operation Matador, have been implicated in the quadruple homicide of 4 young adults in New York. An additional MS-13 arrest admitted to being complicit in homicides of 2 juvenile females. Multiple other Operation Matador MS-13 arrests have led to admissions of narcotics trafficking, weapons smuggling, and intelligence on other unsolved crimes in the region. The proliferation of MS-13 remains an ongoing challenge for law enforcement everywhere. Our efforts to eradicate gangs such as this are much more effective in areas where our partnership with local law enforcement is the strongest. As I said the last time I was here, I cannot stress enough, our operations are more effective when there are strong local partnerships supporting them. Sanctuary city policies only make it more difficult, if not impossible, for ICE to remove known gang members and other criminal aliens who are removed from this country without the opportunity to commit additional crimes. As I said when I was here at the podium a month ago, cooperation is critical. It is often state and local law enforcement, not ICE, that first come into contact with transnational gang members. Together, through partnership, we can keep our streets safe. Together, our gang is bigger than theirs. In addition to making our communities safer, the intelligence gathered from operations targeting MS-13 helps our agents and investigators continue their efforts to fully dismantle these global criminal enterprises, from the command and control structure in El Salvador to the street members walking our communities and everybody in between. In closing, I'll say this: the progress we're making would not be possible without the brave and dedicated men and women of ICE. These are professionals, American patriots, who leave the safety of their homes and their families every day to help keep us safe, to keep people safe they'll never meet. And I am honored and proud to represent them here today. With that, I'll take questions. Sir?
Thank you. In Montgomery County, there has been MS-13 activity, and when they have prosecuted MS-13 there, they have said that the members of MS-13, some of them are citizens, and to get help from the immigrant community where they're plaguing, the plague is on the immigrant community, that they have not been successful because they're afraid of being taken out of the country, that you're going to deport them. So for those in the immigrant community who are being taken advantage of, are you going to offer any type of support for those who are not involved in MS-13 who come forward to assist law enforcement? Because local law enforcement says that's the largest problem they have in getting people to come forward. They think they're going to be deported.
Well, you all can help with that message, right? I mean, the mismessaging that ICE is out there doing neighborhood raids and roadblocks and and things that we were being accused of doing. We got to get the message straight. ICE prioritizes our arrests based on criminal threats, national security, those who violate immigration laws. However, if they're a victim or witness, we're not out looking for victims or witnesses. I believe that these, especially MS-13, they victimize the very communities in which they live. So if the immigrant community is being victimized, they don't want them in the community either. They should be safe to go to law enforcement, report the crime. Again, we do not target victims of crime. Matter of fact, there's actually benefits to victims of crimes through the immigration process. So they should feel safe to go and report criminal activity, and we're going to target the most violent criminals, not the witness, not the victims, to remove them. And we need their help. We need the community's help, and most importantly, we need local law enforcement's help, especially county jails that will have an MS-13 booked in that county jail, but if that county jail is located in a sanctuary city, they get released back to the streets. That's what we need to change. We need cooperation from local law enforcement.
But you're saying, point blank,
Ma'am.
you're not going to take advantage of the immigrant communities who are victims, right? They're
Taking
not gonna be
advantage of the immigrant
deported.
community. Look, we're
If they're
going.
victims, they're not going to be deported.
We
if
need
they
the
come
immigrant
forward.
community to assist us in identifying the most heinous criminals, and that's MS-13. It's the most violent gang out there. So again, I'll say this again: if there's a victim of crime and they come forward, we're not looking to arrest a victim of crime. We're looking to arrest the bad guy, right? Now let me make this clear. Now, am I saying there's a population of illegal aliens are off the table? I'm not saying that, but victims of crime have certain protections, and they need to take full advantage of those protections. Ma'am.
Thank you. Do you have a count for how many people are actually a part of the MS-13 in cities across the country? And what has the reaction been from sanctuary cities to the new policy that was announced earlier this week by the Attorney General? And if you could speak broadly about, obviously the President's been very critical of the Attorney General recently. He is overseeing everything that you're talking about. Has that criticism in any way impacted your ability, federal law enforcement's ability to do their jobs?
There's a lot of questions. I can tell you that thousands of MS-13 members in the country, and that number changes every day depending on who we report, who sneaks in the country. As far as sanctuary cities, I don't know how they feel about the recent legislation, the recent action taken by DOJ, but I'll say it once again. Sanctuary cities are criminals' biggest friend. If you're an alien smuggler, and you're smuggling people in this country for a living, that's one sales pitch. We can get you to a sanctuary city where that city will help shield you from immigration. So, I've said it every time I speak. I say it, sanctuary cities need to help us keep the community safe. Sanctuary cities not only endanger public safety, they endanger my law enforcement officers, because when we can't get a criminal alien, violent alien out of a county jail, it means one of our officers had to go knock on a door, which anybody in law enforcement knows that's one of the most dangerous things to do. So rather than arresting a violent criminal in the safety, security, and privacy of a county jail, we got to go knock on a door. We got to arrest them in the community. If the community's put at risk, our officers are put at risk, and the alien himself is put at risk. We got to start thinking about public safety and the men and women of ICE, and the men and women of the Border Patrol, who we've lost many over the last few years at the hands of violent criminal aliens. We got to join forces with these cities. These cities have to come to us. They have to work with us to keep our community safe. Sir,
The Attorney General, anything on the Attorney General?
what was the question, Attorney General?
The fact that the President's been criticizing him recently, has that in any way impacted your ability, federal law enforcement's ability to do their job?
ICE is going to do our job. We're going to continue to enforce the law. The Attorney General is a strong supporter of immigration enforcement. So isn't the President. And I'll end it there. But I can tell you, nothing's going to change the way we do our business. The men and women are ICE professionals. We're going to keep enforcing law within the orders of the executive order. Sir?
The previous administration also told the country to prioritize criminal gangs. Are you telling the country now that it didn't? And if you're not, what is different about your approach as compared to the previous administration's approach with MS-13 and those gangs like it?
Well, I can tell you that the prior administration prioritized criminals, not security threats. But the difference is, for those that criminal aliens get booked in a county jail, on the prior administration, they needed a conviction before we can even put a detainer on and ask for them to come in our custody. That's not necessary anymore. If you've been arrested for a serious crime and you're in a county jail, we're going to drop a detainer. We're going to take the person in the custody.
What does that mean, dropping a detainer?
That means we're asking the local jurisdiction to hang on to them until we can get there and take custody of them when they're done with you.
Has that proven effective?
Yes, I think we got more jurisdictions coming to the table now. Even, the story is, we got sanctuary cities here and there, but more jurisdictions, more law enforcement come to the table now. The 287G agreements, we already doubled those agreements on this administration. I expect to triple those agreements by the end of the year. Most law enforcement agrees with what I'm saying up here. The street cops, they want to work with us, and they want to identify these threats to the community and get them out of their communities. These people are not welcome in communities, and local law enforcement are teaming up with us. The operation I spoke about here in New York City, we work with Nassau County, Suffolk County, NYPD. All these jurisdictions want to get the criminal element out of their neighborhoods. The immigrant communities themselves, they don't want these people in their communities. We all should be on the same page here. But again, New York City, one of those places where we can't get into Rikers Island and put our hands on people that are here illegally and the criminal aliens. When it comes to gang members walk out of county jails and sanctuary cities every day across this country. That's what we need to change.